to make this video to talk about the two main energies that nature is inviting us to flow with right now during autumn. So for the people who are living in the northern hemisphere, autumn, we changed seasons a few days ago. We're in October right now. And this wind, for example, is completely showing us how fluid it can be, how rough it can be. The power, when I say rough, it's more the strength of the wind, the power of the wind. And it is inviting us to shed old layers, to shed what has been with us for the last seasons. As humans, the last seasons can also be the last years of our life, or something that we've carried with us, but in different ways. All of these leaves that you see on the floor, it is phenomenal, because this tree that looked like one unit during summer, spring and summer, is now going to decompose into a million, at least many hundred thousands, maybe a million of different pieces. And so this letting go can seem like it's too much, it's too intense, it's especially, where will they all go? You know, they're all on the floor. Well, where will they go? How can we transform this? How can this that we're touching right now become something else afterwards? It will decompose, and it will be created into something new. This will be fertilizers for the soil at one point. And then the trust that we have to have for all of this to become something else is huge. That's why we can always ask nature to help us. And breath is our wind. So in times where you feel really overwhelmed, overstimulated, concerned about how and when all of these things will be changing, know that this is a invitation of nature. So what we're feeling, where we're going, our bodies that are a part of nature are going through that same process. So it's what's going on, whether we know it or not. But when we come and we bring this into consciousness, there's a holding we can have access to. There's the feeling of being held, of being supported, and in a way of being guided, but also knowing that we're guided collectively towards something, somewhere. And the second energy, which is as important, and I even want to underline it, because the first energy is something that is part of a bigger process. So this trust is also trusting this moment in time for this bigger movement that is happening. The second is the energy of celebration. It is the time of harvest season. So fruits, for example, or vegetables, they have been in the process. They were planted. They have been growing all of this time. They have been watered. They have been going through the process. And today they are here. Today they want to nourish us. Today they want to be the main focus of this feast that you're going to make for yourself. And I'm thinking of, for example, one day, a year ago, or a few months ago, or 10 years ago, you were feeling a certain way. You were somewhere in your life. Now you're feeling something different. You're somewhere else in your life. That is a milestone. That is a celebration that you can do. Because often we're waiting for other people to celebrate us, but they haven't walked in our shoes. They haven't felt what it was to be us every step of the day, every step of the way, every second in our body. in our spirit. And in that, there's great strength into celebrating, acknowledging, and hold yourself, or take a cup of tea, and every day, and this can be relationships in your life, it can be a place you are right now, it can be a situation you were and now it has changed, it can be, you will know. For example, for me, I'm still celebrating the fact of how I feel so, I have access to lightness in myself that for a while there I thought that I would not came back. Like some days I lost trust that I would gain this back, and I promised myself that if I were to feel light again, something that for a long time in my life I kind of took it for granted, I promised myself to celebrate it every day, to not take that for granted. Just me with me being good. And I think this is the time where the underlining invitation is to celebrate. So, for example, just that's a celebration. I'm just gonna wait for the plane to pass. So this celebration energy, this feast energy, is the celebration of the present. And it is so important to be here now and to be with the fact, be with the knowing that life is perfectly as it is right now. And that there is great value to be found right now. And when you're celebrating yourself, you're celebrating another fellow human, a fellow artery of the earth that is also going through that. And you're celebrating Earth herself. And that's something that is so important, and that we are remembering to do more and more. And by remembering, we are merging back with her. And this is the invitation of the moment in history in a more global level. So it's as important to trust where you are in the process and let Earth support you in that. And breathe. And literally 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths can change your thoughts from one moment to the next. Your thoughts will be a little different, so your feelings are going to be a little different. Or your feelings and thoughts both are like a chain. And then your actions is going to be different. And sometimes the action is really just to breathe. And celebrating what is. And coming back to a scale that is important to you. That is important to your everyday. And that is important here now. Because life is here now. And again, in a bigger movement. But the movement is happening now too. And it's important to note that sometimes we really want things to change and we're very hasty for the change to come, a situation, feeling, relationship, and we're like, oh, when will this thing change? And then for other things in our life, we want it to stay exactly the same until we die, and we want it to stop in the movement. And those are two very valid wishes as humans, because the human experience is very paradoxical. So all is good with that too. I'm wishing you a beautiful day.